Hey, it's Frank here with 4D Honeybee, and I'm about to check two of my NUCS. So they're NUCS that I installed mid-June, around June 14, 15. It's now August 2nd, so it's been 6 weeks and I haven't had too much of a look in there. So it's about time to look in there and just see what we're getting. Hopefully there's a good, healthy laying queen in there, and hopefully we'll see if maybe it's time for a second brood box. So thanks for joining me on 4D Honeybee. Okay, very interested to see what's going on in this hive because I've just haven't looked at it for a long time. Oh, it's looking great. Lots of bees in there. Lots of young bees. Some older bees. Let's have a look for the queen here. Wow, gorgeous sunshine. I don't see the queen on there. Okay. Wow, lots of bees. It's a beautiful sight. And just bubbling out of the middle like that, it's really interesting. Just to me means it's a very healthy hive right off the bat. Well, let's have a look further in and see what we see. Have a look underneath for the queen as well. And I see a lot of frames that are nicely drawn out here. Have a look. You can pretty much say that there are bees covering all 10 frames here. When I see a concentration over here, it makes me think the queen is over here. But I'm famously not good at finding the queen. This is a 4-frame nuke, and you can tell the 4 frames because they're plastic. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see I checkerboarded them in, and there's a lot of comb built up in there, which again, I think is a good thing. Okay. I had someone ask me about putting the hooks in the corner of the frames and whether or not it damages the comb. And what I found is that in most cases they don't build right out to the edge. Just a little area where they kind of taper the comb off. Wow. And because of that, the J tool doesn't do much harm. So have a look at this nice honey frame here. It's beautiful. Tore a bit of it open, so they've got some work to do. Sorry about that, guys. That's because they had stuck that part right here to the wall. Right here, maybe not in frame. See that big rip there? It stuck that to the wall, so pulling it out kind of ripped a bit. Look for the queen. This is an unmarked queen again, so more than finding the queen. Again, finding the queen is always nice, but really what we're looking for is signs of a healthy hive with a healthy queen. Give these guys a healthy dose of smoke. Less than ideal conditions here, so they are coming at me a little bit, which does not surprise me. Okay, so move away, move away, move away, go away, go away. Thank you. Jeez, she comes right back. Look at that brood. Look at this beautiful frame. So I really don't think there's much need to go much further in this hive. That is a tremendous queen. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's brood. I wanted to see if it was just dark honey, but no, that is brood. Brood on this side too. Beautiful pattern. Thick with honey around the outside. And larva, brood on the inside. So I think it's pretty easy to say that this hive requires a second box. So I'm going to install the second box. Consider this a successful first nuke, I guess. No longer a nuke, it's now a full-fledged functioning hive. So way to go, girls. I'll shut you off now because you don't need to see the rest, and we'll see how the next nuke is doing and compare the two. Okay, so I'm checking the sister nuke for the nuke that I just checked. So I installed this again in mid-June, so it's about week number 6, I'd say, for this hive. And with this hive, again, part of the reason why you don't ever want to start beekeeping with just one hive is that it's good to compare the progress of one to the other. So right off the bat, again, these bees are much lighter than any other bees that I have, so they're definitely a different species. That's the first thing I notice. Second thing I noticed right off the bat, nowhere as many bees as in the previous hive. Again, not a huge worry, but just comparison for sake of comparing, right? Especially if there's a problem. So I am going to smoke these guys because it's getting late in the day and we've got overcast conditions. So it's been a great day, but conditions right now are not that great, and I want to try to keep these bees from getting upset. Now, my goal for this is just to see how they're doing. If they have 8 frames filled out and there's a good number of bees, then what I'm going to do with this hive is I'm going to try and operate this hive as a single deep box. Everything else I go with 2 brood boxes, 2 deeps, and then start adding honey supers to them. This one I'm going to try to just leave as a single deep, because that apparently is a way a lot of beekeepers do it, and it's apparently very efficient and much easier. So again, right off the bat I can tell not as many bees as in the other hive. And the other hive definitely had all 10 frames well drawn out. This one does not. I'm just going to take a close look at these bees and see if I can see any sign of mites or anything. I don't. They look great. Very fuzzy. And very light yellow colored. So, again, in comparison, that other hive had all 10 drawn out. And I can see already, and maybe you can see too, you can see the difference between the frames that came with the nuke. So the darker, older, uglier looking frames, I'd say that one, that one, that one, and that one, 4-frame nuke. And the new ones, you can see just by looking down there that they're not drawn out practically at all. See right down in there? You'd be seeing comb right on the sides of it, just like you do the old frames. So it doesn't look like this hive is doing as well, but let's take a look and let's see if we can see why. What we want to see in this hive, most important thing, is we want to see signs of a right-laying queen. So we want to see brood, and we want to see eggs, and it'd be nice to see the queen, but if we don't, it's not too big a deal. On this hive, though, it might be a big deal because it looks like this hive has, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, well, 7 frames covered in bees. Call it even 8 because there's a lot of bees on the outside there. So the numbers are not a concern so far. Again, comparatively, this hive is nowhere near as strong as the one we just looked at before. So we'll see if it makes any difference. Okay, you can see they're just in the process of drawing this out. It'll be a nice honey frame. Look for the queen on here. I saw a bee that kind of looked like a queen, but I don't think it is. It's a big female. Not much happening on this side at all. So they're getting there. They might just be getting there at a slower pace than the other hives, which is okay. You know, it may mean we can reconsider something like feeding this hive. It's been an incredible summer here. It was a terrible May, so everybody got off to a really slow start. I was supposed to get this nuke in early May. I got it in mid-June. So, but then June and July have been incredible. It's been sunny and hot. There's been enough rain that there's no dirt, there's no dryness. Take a look around here. You can see there's a constant bloom, and I'd even say a constant honey flow. Now, I don't see that there's anything that would stop the production of honey, especially because this is farmland. So, you know, there's a lot of crops. There's canola, there's soy, there's corn, there's apples and fruits and orchards and lots of stuff that is basically always in bloom or in season. So again, these guys are incredibly calm, so There's just one or two bees coming at me here, and they might still be from the other hives. So I don't want to smoke these guys much just yet. Let me in here. Oh, that's a heavy frame. Okay, let's see what it's heavy with, because it's not brood on this side. Okay, you can see it's all nectar and honey on this side. Oh, am I blocking you guys there? And all nectar and honey on this side too. So the second frame in, that's not much of a surprise, that's okay. Next frame is one of the new frames, so it's a frame that isn't drawn out quite as much. So let's see just how it's going. Okay, very light frame. It is drawn out though. No, not completely drawn out. I didn't look very closely at that frame for the queen. I'm always so bad at that. She could be on one of these partially drawn out frames. I had one hive that was partially drawn out. She had already laid in them, even though they weren't completely drawn out. Already laid brood in it. Okay, let's look for the queen here. I don't see her. Oh, it looks like a pseudo queen cells. Ooh, a whole bunch of queen cells down here. Look at this. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4 queen cells. One is still capped. One is definitely emerged, as you can see right here. So maybe there's been some funny business going on here, and that would explain why this hive. Oh, look at there's. Oh, I was thinking a queen was about to emerge here, but no, they're just cleaning out this queen cell right here. See that? So something's going on with this hive that warrants further investigation. Did they already replace a queen? Did the queen not make it? Let's see. Let's see what we got. Okay. So this is an emerging brood frame. The brood has emerged from the inside, and they've already backfilled it with honey. Another supersedure cell here that is not yet hatched out. See, it's a small one, but it's there nonetheless. So again, lots of signs that they're not happy with their queen, or there is no queen. You see the cell right there? It's a small one, but it's a supersedure cell nonetheless. Okay, let's see what's going on with this hive, with this side. Some emerging brood. So the fact that there is brood that's emerging here on the outsides means this queen didn't leave that long ago if she has swarmed or left, or if they're trying to replace her for some reason. But I've got the feeling it's going to be pretty hard to find eggs in this hive. Again, still looking for the queen. Very light colored bees, incredible. Like some of them are, you know, almost white looking. Zombie bees. Okay, let's put this back in and keep going. A few signs in this hive not very promising. Somewhat concerning. Good number of bees, but why are they trying to make a new queen? Or why have they already made a new queen? I think this is what we're going to see a lot of. Frames that with brood that has merged that have been all backfilled with honey. No queen. No queen, no eggs, no larva. Hatched out brood from the middle, coming out to the edges, still just hatching out as we speak. Just change the angle on you a little bit because I got the feeling I'm blocking most of your images with my body. So let's see. I'm very calm for not having a queen. Oh, look at all this brood. Wow, very nice brood frame here. So it begs the question, why the supersedure cells and queen cells, when there's been a queen in here, or there is a queen in here, it looks like she's doing pretty decent patterns. And this one's fairly solid. That one's quite nice. Decent amount of drone chroma. I mean, no big problem with that though. Got these two bees still trying to get me from the previous hive inspections. But this hive, just look at how calm they are. I mean, I often say that and I promptly get stung, but just look at them. A lot of bees, that's for sure. You know, the first few frames suggested there's no queen or they're requeening. But then I came across a nice solid brood frame. Let's see what this one's going to give me. Okay, this is a frame that's still being drawn out. It's full of nectar on this side. Still looking for a queen. I'm not drawing it out, you know, super fast. There's another queen cell. There's queen cups and queen cells. That one is capped and ready to hatch. It's another nice brood frame here with another queen cell. So what is going on? I mean, it's very small. Look at this. I don't know, could it be just a practice one? It's closed. So if they're practicing, they're doing a good job of it. Looks pretty realistic. Looking for the queen here. Again, ideally, we would look on one of these brood frames and find some eggs. But I'm just seeing cap brood. There's another frame that's not very drawn out, this next one. Here, so let's look for the queen on here. Nope, no queen that I can see. This frame has got nothing much. And the last frame is going to probably be honey. Not much of a build-up here. So we found brood. We found queen cells. We found no queen, and we found no eggs. So it is very possible that the queen has split and that they're making new ones, or a new one, or they've just made a new one, and I haven't spotted her. So what to do with this hive? I mean, I just took two hives that were trying to make a new queen. I said no way, and I put a new queen in there. Now this is a different story though. It's certainly a pretty healthy looking hive. A lot of bees in it, but it's way behind the other hive. So, what to do for now is going to be nothing. I am going to give this hive the better part of a week, let all that brood hatch out, and then see if there is a fertile queen in here. And if there isn't, then again, start thinking about requeening this one as well. I could put more fresh eggs in here, but they're already making a new queen. I found, you know, what, 4 or 5 closed queen cells that were one that had just been emerged. So I don't know. Again, I'm stumped. Just when you think you got it figured out. This is a massive honey frame. Look at how thick this thing is. Incredible. See if I can spot the queen on here having a drink. All honey and nectar. Fantastic frame of honey. It's got to be 6 pounds of honey in there. Okay, so I'm going to close this one up. I'm going to agree to do nothing about it and just see what they do. Again, every situation is different with every hive. You can compare them. Obviously, you go by your experience. you talk to a dozen beekeepers, and a dozen beekeepers could give you a dozen different opinions. Like that's one thing that is definitely true in this community. It's all well intended, but in the end, you got to see what is seen by the beekeeper. You got to be having your face in the hives, all right? Because the first few frames of this told me it was queenless. The last few frames told me it may still be queenless, but there's lots of brood in there. So they're going to hatch out, you know, quite a few thousand more bees, which will make the hive all that stronger. And if one of those queen cells makes a new queen, they're probably okay. This hive, I wouldn't say this hive swarmed because there's still a ton of bees in here. But it's less bees than in my other NUCS hive, which was installed the same day. So who knows? That's my decision. I'm going to stand by it. Thanks for joining me at 4D Honeybee.